It seems that every 3 or 4 years or so, an RV manufacturer will do something that is such a big change that it will set trends to come for years in the RV world. And I think with the Keystone Walkabout here, we see one of those new trends that, depending on your feedback, will determine if it's a trend that we see across more RVs in the future. And this is already also utilizing a lot of other trends that we've seen in the RV space for the past year or two that are really good trends to be following. So let's go take a look, come on. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Myles with Firmly Unbound. And today we are taking a look at the new 2026 Keystone Walkabout. This is their 22 Max floor plan. Based on when I get this video out, it may be one of the first videos in the world of this specific model, the 22 Max. The Walkabout line does already have 2 floor plans, even though it is a brand new product. They also have the 26 Max, but I will be doing a separate individual standalone video of that one there. But this one was already posted by Keystone RV on their YouTube channel. Has about 112,000 views as of me checking it, so I think quite a few people saw that. That's a bunk model. This here is a couples model. And one of the reasons I'm so excited to take a look at this, there's actually a few. So let me go through a couple different things here. First of all, many of you know that I film my RV tours with Blue Compass RV. And when you're going to look for and shop for your next RV, Blue Compass RV has over 100 different stores in 33 different states across the country that you can find your next RV from. And there's a link in the pinned comment and description down below in this video. However, with this being a brand new product to the market for 2026, this is a product here that I don't know if any dealerships have technically picked up yet. I think this is actually dealerships' first time coming to this event that I'm filming this at, which is an industry exclusive or industry only event. This is the first time that dealerships even have an opportunity to place an order on a product like this. And if you don't know, the way that RV dealerships work is within the RV dealership world, RV dealerships can only carry certain brands within a mile radius from another dealership that sells that same brand. So that's why you'll see, like in the DFW area, for instance, since Blue Compass RV carries all of the Alliance products in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, it won't be another dealership that carries the Alliance product outside of Blue Compass RV for at least, probably at least 100 miles out. I don't know the exact mile radius that it is, but that's how RV dealerships work. So that being said, you guys have a unique opportunity here to use some of your influence, where if you like what you're seeing out of this product here with this Walkabout product and you want it to be carried at Blue Compass RV dealerships, there are various Blue Compass RV stores, like ones in Austin, ones in Oklahoma, and various others across the country that carry Keystone products, and I would believe have the opportunity to jump in on being a dealer that carries this Walkabout brand, but they only want to carry brands that you guys are interested in purchasing, and then how aggressive they are to go get those brands is kind of up to how much they think you guys might be interested in purchasing them. So you guys have to let me know in the comments, and let Blue Compass know down in the comments that this is a product that you would be interested in seeing on their lots here in the upcoming year. Now I'm going to give you my perspective on this, because I look at this camper and this is one that I legitimately would consider purchasing for myself. So a couple things to talk about on the outside. First of all, this is all an aluminum exterior here. So the exterior walls are all an aluminum material, similar to like what we're seeing in the Brinkley products and across some of their travel trailers. And then you have a really nice color design on here. It looks like we do have some sticker decals with this orange, but the black and the gray is all painted on there. The orange is the only sticker that we see. Also really like the color scheme here. The whole kind of idea and philosophy around this travel trailer is a very rugged built travel trailer. You can see here with this powder coated aluminum framing along the sides, definitely designed to withstand a little bit more impact and just, you know, being beaten up over the years with something like that there. So I really like to see that. I also really like how I just bought a used KTM dirt bike, and it's really an enduro bike, so street legal dirt bike, and it matches the colors of this too. So just would be nice with that. As we come around this side, big windshield up front, very nice look on here, a much taller travel trailer than some others. You can see it here next to the Keystone Outback, for instance. Definitely a little bit bigger profile than your traditional travel trailer. Going to give you a really tall ceiling height, and then it is really well equipped. I mean, this thing is equipped to the max, which definitely, you know, is substantially much more well equipped than something like my Alliance Delta Ultralight travel trailer. Now, mind you, when I bought my Delta Ultralight travel trailer, I was really aggressively trying to stay under $40,000. I doubt that this will be under $40,000, but as of me filming this, there is no pricing information that I have at the moment. So it's just a guess at this point. We have two 30-pound propane tanks right here. And then we have a battery disconnect switch and a big beefy solar disconnect switch, it looks like there. I'm assuming that's, well, it says battery switch. So maybe they're both tied into the battery. You know, this BMI box, I'd have to do a little bit of digging on that. I was thinking this is more tied into the solar panels there, but it is saying battery disconnect. But my thought is that's tied into the solar panels. There's a 400-watt solar system on here. You can get various different solar packages. From what I understand too, because they're using the Furrion Chill Cube, very efficient air conditioning system, there's going to be more ability for them to run the air conditioner off of the solar and inverter systems equipped. So like when we go into this pass-through storage, a couple cool things to look at. You have a tire prep system here for a tire pressure monitoring system. You have your 30 amp solar charge controller. Down through here, looks like we have a inverter there. That's a 2000 watt inverter. Have some of your water connections through this area as well. Very tall storage space in here. And then this designated spot is for fishing poles. So you can put up to 6 fishing poles on this area right here. Basically the rear end of your rod would go through this hole there, and then the tip of the rod would go into this spot along the other side. So room for up to 6 fishing poles with that. Prep to add more solar charge controllers. And that's pretty much everything in here. Aluminum framing through this space. And as we go through this side, big windows all through here, a through frame rack and pinion style slide mechanism, and then they're giving you the best running gear that's pretty much available on the market right now, aside from maybe like a, you know, more ride independent suspension system. I don't know the difference quite yet with this Kurt independent style suspension system versus that one, but definitely those two are going to be some of the best on the market. So really, really good beefy suspension system up here that is really going to be substantially better than what your traditional, you know, average travel trailer has with either a leaf spring suspension system or even things like a MoRide CRE 3000 suspension system. So curious to see how that performs over time, but definitely looks like it's going to perform very well. That's enough on the outside for right now. Let's go ahead and head inside. You can see even they have the nice Keystone logo there on the wheels. And when we step inside, this has a 440 watt solar package on it. You might also see it with a 220 watt solar package possibly, but I think they should just order all of them with the 440 watt package and just have that beefed up solar and the ability to run outlets on a camper like this. You can let me know what you think, but if I was a dealership, I would just order every one of them with the 440 watt package minimum. Have your privacy shade already installed in the window. And as we step inside, you have a tilting bed here up front. Nice color scheme in here, pretty, you know, modest on the colors. And then certainly the biggest standout feature inside of this travel trailer appears in the slide out, where they have this atrium slide out is what they're calling it. And you can see here they have a window in the roof portion of the slide out. So in this particular floor plan layout, you get that one single window in the slide out. I'm sure they have a plan, if this brand does well, is received well, to continue to build more floor plans. And I'm sure we'll see various different floor plans that are going to offer multiple windows in the top of the slide out. This one just doesn't really call for that because of the refrigerator being in that space right there. But the 26 Max next to us, that is a bunkhouse model, does have 2 windows in the top of the slide out with a much bigger sofa. And then we're also going to see this pass over into other Keystone brands as well. Things like the Keystone Passport will be utilizing this type of atrium slide out, and then the Keystone Bullet. And I'll be curious to see what other ones have this incorporated in them as I go throughout the Keystone display here. Now, what I'm seeing is that this is a patent pending design from Keystone. So with those patents, sometimes it's hard for me to, you know, to know or understand, and I'll ask more of these questions as I get the ability to out here. I just might not have it by the time this video is published. I don't know if those patents are going to be like, you know, lifetime patents, if they're going to have a time frame on them. So I don't know if this is something that is going to be exclusive to Keystone products and Keystone products only for, you know, all of eternity, or if it's going to be something that we might only see in Keystone products for a couple years before it opens up for the rest of the market to use. But I'm very curious your thoughts on what you think about the window in the slide out. Now up here, they do have a privacy shade on it, so you can close that window when you want to, and this does have a reflective screen on the back of that shade. But all in all, I mean, sitting here in the slide out with that big window up above you there, that is really cool. Definitely like that a lot. Just big window coverage in general. Have massive windows right here as well. They have pull down shades on these so you can close those when needed, but tons of natural light just soaking through the interior space here with all of those windows in the slide out. And this is the first of its kind, having a slide out in the roof, or having a window, sorry, in the roof of a slide out. You also have the lighting that goes around the edge of the slide out, which is different than what we've seen in anything else that I can recall. So pretty neat. Now, that is something very curious, your feedback on what you think about that. I don't think there's too many cons with this. Obviously, the most noted con is going to be the amount of heat that will be able to come in through that window. But with the shade here, that's going to help reduce that quite a bit. In fact, it's, you know, a mid 80s, almost 90 degrees. I think it's about 90 degrees today, actually. And it is plenty cool in here with this Furrion Chill Cube 18,000 BTU AC. It's plenty cool. Plus, they have a second AC in here. That's probably their 8,000 BTU Furrion AC here. So I don't think there's going to be any problem staying cool in this travel trailer, especially at this size. Another thing that makes this real appealing to me in particular is when we look at the specs. I forgot to go over this outside, but the dry weight on this is only 6,250 pounds. The hitch weight is 670 pounds with a 2,350 pound cargo carrying capacity. So gross weight is 8,600 pounds. 54 gallon freshwater, 34 gallon gray water, 34 gallon black water. And overall length on this, 26 feet 7 inches, 8 feet wide. And the height is 11 feet 1 inch on this. Now with all those specs, this is definitely half-ton towable, and towable by my Toyota Tundra. Even with the fact that my Toyota Tundra only has a 1,200 pound cargo carrying capacity or payload capacity on it, everything within it fits well within my towability for my Tundra and for most other modern half-ton trucks. So this is not only just an awesome build, awesome concept, but it is very suitable for a modern half-ton truck. So that's very nice to know as well, and something that would make this an actual legitimate one to put on my list is something that I would purchase. Have your wardrobe storage here, magnet latches to hold these doors closed. No soft close on these, and granted, I don't know how close they are to final production on these, so there is a chance that a few things here or there may change. So if you see anything you'd like to see differently, add those thoughts and comments below. I'm sure there's not a whole lot that they couldn't change if they want to, based on your feedback. You have your outlets, USB ports here. That's where you see the inverted outlet with that 440 watt solar system and 2000 watt inverter that we're seeing here. All of those outlets will be getting power from the battery, meaning I could plug my phone into those outlets right now, even though we're not hooked into power that is currently on at the moment. Have this thicker bamboo mattress right here, and the mattress itself, pretty dang comfortable. Let me kick my shoes off. Megan would really like this because I know Megan in our camper hates that we don't have a good spot to like sit up in the camper, in the bedroom, because most campers, when you have the bed up against this wall, the wall is slanted, so there's just no good way to really sit up against that wall without having to like really be hunched over. And so this actually has a tilting mattress right here, and it's a nice enough mattress that I don't think most people will find themselves needing to replace this mattress. It's very comfortable as I'm sitting on it, and you have an actual usable spot to sit and hang out here just as the bed sits, which I think is very practical and makes a whole lot of sense. It makes this a much more usable camper in all the different ways that you might want to use it. Again, AC right over your head too, so that's gonna be basically blowing right down on your feet while you're sleeping. I have a little bar stool area right here, nice accented orange light underneath there. So definitely fitting, you know, the black, kind of black, white, almost a cream, and then orange color scheme that we see on this Walkabout product. Got storage space here underneath the bed. Under here, it looks like we got storage under this as well. Yeah, a little shallow storage space, and then we do have access a little bit to that pass-through storage where we can see that there. Controls to tilt this down are right here. So we have the button right there to extend the bed out. Then you can see right here, bed will fit nicely. Looks like it's about a residential queen on this bed. Everything about it looks like it's got to be a residential queen on there. I don't know if it says on here, dream day bed with bamboo mattress. Yeah, it doesn't say, it says queen bed here, but it doesn't give dimensions on these floor plan layouts. So my assumption is that is a residential queen. It looks like it is. Then you have storage here, a little bit of countertop space or just tabletop space next to the bed there, and your switch here. Retractable ladder, this is to get up onto the roof, and then all your windows that open will have a bug screen. I still don't know why they're doing it in this orientation. It perfectly, makes sense to me that the privacy shade should come up from the bottom and the bug screen should come from the top, but they continue to do it in this reverse orientation to the way that would make more sense for your ability to have privacy and like peek out the window without other people seeing you would make more sense if this came from the bottom up. Also have a shade here on the windshield, but the massive windshield here, very cool spot too to be able to look out into your camping environment, and then you'll have that same privacy shade here. Also, ceiling height in here is fantastic. It's about a 7-foot tall ceiling, so plenty of ceiling height in here. That is a huge change from what I'm used to in my travel trailer, and Megan and I would both appreciate that pretty drastically, having that additional height. Now, the one thing that makes me not like this floor plan a whole heck of a lot is the dining table. Now, you can let me know your thoughts on the dining table, but I've just never found these things to be all that comfortable. And in fact, I'll get behind the camera here so that we can kind of see what I'm talking about. As soon as I sit in any of these booth dining tables, immediately I feel like I'm gonna slip off the chair. Like, I don't know, something about the cushions, they're not super comfortable to begin with. And that's just across the board with any RV in their dining areas for the most part, any towable RV at least. You have to sit perfectly straight up, which is not a problem. It's not like I have a problem with sitting straight up, but with how it lacks a bit of comfort, there's always, less leg room than it seems like there really would be because of the base that's down underneath here. And so you're fighting for leg space. All in all, I never use my dining table in my travel trailer. Literally never use it. I set stuff on it. I store things on it. I store things on top of my seats in my booth seating there, but we never ever use the table. Curious if you guys feel the same or if you're different than me in that regard. But so with the table here, immediately what I think is if I legitimately purchase a travel trailer like this, Megan and I have a baby on the way. Baby will be here around the start of February, so long as everything goes according to plan. And in that event, if we had a travel trailer like this, or even if we, keep the travel trailer that we have, which is probably the most likely outcome, probably gonna rip out our dining table, or either that, or we're gonna set the dining table down flat, make this into like a permanent bed space, because this table here will collapse like most, but I really like how this one works. It has a little latch there that you just, pull and release, and wherever you release it, it'll stop it right there. But Megan and I are more than likely gonna just leave our dining table in a permanent bed position, take these backrests here, they have Velcro pads there holding it in place, and set these on top. Now when you drop this all the way down as low as it can go, this all sits flush. And then you'll have a bed all the way across, and then we can probably set something on top of that to be essentially like a baby sort of crib, a baby playpen, or something along those lines, which will make it a much more usable space than what it currently is. Now, in my Delta travel trailer, I can rip all of this stuff out. In this travel trailer, not so much. So you can set this down into a table, but underneath here, it looks like we probably have some sort of furnace equipment under there. The storage underneath here is screwed down, so you cannot, take this board off that's underneath here. By the way, it is a thick piece of plywood underneath there. You'd have to unscrew it to get that board undone. And then on this side, you have all this electrical wiring down here, and this is also screwed closed. So as of right now, to take all this stuff out, you're gonna have equipment down underneath here that's gonna be in the way. So not really the most practical thing. But the dining table here is the one thing that I'm just like, I could live without it. In this floor plan, I see why it makes sense, and you pretty much always see that in this floor plan from other brands too, because this isn't any like new floor plan. But I don't know, that's the one thing that, in my personal opinion, you guys can let me know what you think, is just, I don't like it that much. It's also a little interesting how that's a 32-inch screen TV, and when you're sitting here in the recliners, that TV looks real small and kind of far away. It feels like it needs to be more like a 40-inch screen TV, 42-inch screen TV, something like that. With that size screen, with how big we're used to screens being today, I'd rather just have a table that you could set in this space here. Plenty of room for a folding table to go right here, and just put a TV right on top of that table, and you could have it right in front of you. Because I do that in my travel trailer too sometimes. I have a table that I put in the middle of the floor, and if I'm working on something like on my laptop or anything like that, sometimes I'll use that table to work off of, and then that gives me a monitor or screen closer than all the way across an 8-foot trailer. Anyway, sorry for all of that rambling. Those are some things that were, this is a new brand, kind of feeling more expressive in my thoughts on just things I've experienced with my own travel trailer, and hoping to encourage you guys to share more of your thoughts as well. So I hope you don't take that as me just being excessive in my speech. Furniture here, very nice, has the Keystone branding on it. These are both recliners, so they'll have the pull strap recline function on them, have this kind of textured design in the mid backrest portion, and then you can see how those will lay back pretty nicely there. So good, comfortable seating though. Has a flip down armrest like you have this, so you can get the separation and cup holders when you need it, and you still can cuddle up when you want to. Have an outlet behind this wall. And then as we work our way back, actually, real quick, I want to show you all the controls. Another thing that's nice that this travel trailer has is 12-volt heat pads. So you have heat pads on all of your water tanks, individual controls of each pad. So pad for your fresh tank, gray tank, and black tank. That's a nice electric heat source if you're camping in colder temperatures. Full timing in an RV or anything like that, going to give you that ability to have another heat source for your water tanks in addition to the furnace. Also have dimmable lights in the ceiling. It makes the lights flicker on the camera when you do that, but you can see how they dim there. Slide out controls, awning controls, and some of your light controls plus tank level controls here. With this Furrion Chill Cube AC, you can see how you have this articulating opening there. It really disperses the air through here very nicely. And something worth mentioning I just learned about this is on the controller here, it has a follow me mode. And the follow me mode actually uses this remote through this sensor as your thermostat. So if you want to make sure the temperature wherever you are at is being pushed to the temperature you have the AC set to, you carry that remote with you. So for instance, if you're laying in bed and you want to make sure your bedroom space is at 70 degrees and your AC doesn't turn off until then, you can take the remote with you and set it next to the bed, and that is a really cool feature that I would certainly use in my travel trailer. If you've seen some of my other videos, I've talked about having a single AC on my travel trailer means I have to sleep with the doors open to my bedroom because the AC turns off when my bedroom is still too hot because it's sensing the room in the temperature in the living room, not the temperature in my bedroom. Good storage all throughout this area. Definitely see a bit more storage here than we've seen from some other floor plans in the industry that, this is essentially a different version of. And so you got all this storage through here. Very nice use of space with all of that. I don't think I can recall another brand that makes this floor plan where I've seen them utilize that much storage in that area. I have seen where they might do a pantry right here, but haven't seen that much storage on that wall like they did there. Solid wood kind of pull-out drawer there with some shelving. Again, magnet latches there. And then as we turn back around this way, we have a Furrion refrigerator and freezer system. Has the French door refrigerator from Furrion. This will be a 12-volt refrigerator. So really good size refrigerator space for sure. Freezer portion has the sliding tray here, then a bigger bin down underneath. Then we go into the kitchen space. They're using a really thin composite-like countertop material here. It does have essentially like a heat retention up to 500 degrees. So if you are cooking with like a cast iron skillet or anything like that, this can withstand up to 500 degrees being placed on it. So you can take some of your cookware directly off a burner and just set it on the countertop space without any worry about any damage happening to the countertop. So that's another really nice thing. You also have a real tile backsplash in a travel trailer. Very cool. Not a whole lot of utilized backsplash space because we have the window right here, the window that opens, by the way. So you can twist this here and open up the window. Windows are going to open up about maybe like, that looks like about 3 inches or so on this one. Tinted windows at that as well, and they're single pane windows. But you have the window that opens up here, window opens up there. A little bit of pull-out spice rack style storage right here. Very cool spot for all of your spices with cooking. Nice shelf up here, spot to hang different cookware or cooking utensils such as spatulas. And then we have 4 drawers along this side. Looks like we have a solid wood drawer construction with a bunch of staples there to hold everything in place. Down underneath the drawers, no additional base support on those. I would like to see that, but it does not have any additional base support. So you just got to be a little mindful of how much weight you load into those. With these smaller drawers, probably not an issue. Bigger drawer here though, again, that's where you got to kind of be mindful of how much weight you load into that so the bottom of that doesn't, you know, bust out. If you're loading a bunch of cast iron equipment in there, you got to kind of be mindful of the fact that there's no additional base support on there, and it's just like a thin sheet of Luan is your base on that drawer. You have your air fryer, convection oven, microwave combo, since there's no oven in here. Again, notice the LED lighting in the space, dimmable on those as well. Nice looking slide out fascia design here on that. A little bit of a, you know, expressive detail with the kind of ridges that are in that design. And then we go back to the sink on the back wall, same countertop material here. Really like this faucet that they're utilizing. So you have a more directional spray port here, and then you have kind of like a waterfall style spray port there. And you can see how you can twist the orientation on that depending on what you're looking for. Got storage up above. That looks like it's all unobstructed all the way through. A couple of hooks here as well. And then down underneath the sink, let's see what we got going on here. Got your storage space there, more storage here, and doesn't look like there's any individual shut-off valves on the water lines that I can tell. That would be a nice thing to see, but I do not see that occurring in this space. 4 drawers here look like they're all the same size, and then we get to the bathroom. Before we get there, actually, let me show this. We have a cutting board right here that will go over the sink, like so. Nice color on that, and cool little designated storage spot. Outlet up here in this kitchen space, real tile backsplash. As we turn this way, we have a sliding pocket door sitting between the 2 wall panels. Good privacy there. You can see no gaps up in the top portion. We do have a little gap in the bottom, but it is very small. Now, I know some people don't particularly like this floor plan because of the fact that the kitchen is right next to the bathroom. If that's somebody that bothers you, you might just have to wait for another couple style floor plan layout to come from the Walkabout line. But yeah, that's just gonna be a personal preference thing. I know it doesn't really bother me all that much, but you know, who am I to say? Because other people have different opinions than me. Down underneath here, again, we can see no individual shut-off valves for the water line, so get a bit of confirmation on that. But we do have a porcelain foot flush toilet right there. So very nice with that. Have your plastic bowl sink, and then have medicine cabinet. Now the ceiling height is really felt in this bathroom. Tons of space in here because the ceiling height, couple hooks here behind the toilet, tankless water heater, have a smaller vent fan here in this space, AC ducted back into this area, so we do feel some cold air coming back into this space. And then as we turn around and go into the shower, we have the flexible shower curtain. Open that up. Now the shower is a little bit narrow right here, so not a whole lot of width. Great height though, and it has a oversized shower head, much bigger than what you're used to typically seeing from a travel trailer RV. So definitely like to see that. But when I stand up into the space, oh yeah, man, gosh, yeah, that, you can't even tell on camera, and I couldn't tell just with the naked eye how curved this skylight is, but that, you could probably be at least about 6'6", maybe 6'7", and stand in the shower. I almost can stand under the shower head at 6'1", but I still even have to duck just a little bit to get underneath that, so I wish they would have mounted that a little bit higher. But other than that, pretty fantastic on the overall shower height. I have your shower curtain. Again, it's a little narrow in here though, so the width space is not great, especially with this little ledge sticking out right here. If you're a wider guy, you literally might find yourself showering sideways and then turning around and rinsing off this way so your arms have room to wipe yourself down, because standing this way, your arms are going to be hitting everything. So just something to keep in mind with that. As we come back out, another detail I wanted to look at is underneath the slide out here in the flooring. Perfect. Okay, cool. We got a wrapped subfloor here in the slide out. That's pretty consistent with everything Keystone does. One of the few brands that is wrapping their slide out flooring underneath here with this waterproof Darko kind of material right there. So I like to see that. And that's pretty much everything on the inside. So very curious your thoughts. We'll wrap up with just touching up on a few details on the outside, and then let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you haven't already. Again, I don't know a price on this. My estimate is it's probably going to be in like the mid to high $40,000 price range. That's kind of what I'm guessing. It could probably even touch the $50,000 range, but I'm not sure because it is a pretty, substantial travel trailer compared to what else is out there in the market. And really, the more I was thinking about that price and why that makes sense too, is this is basically what I would consider Keystone's first attempt to compete more directly with a Brinkley travel trailer. I think a lot of their other stuff doesn't, it can get close to a similar, style of competition with the Brinkley travel trailer, but this is much more in line with what I think would be a good alternative to something like a Brinkley that has, a completely different look and character to it than a Brinkley if you want that kind of look, design, and build characteristics, but in something that is different than a Brinkley. Slam latch baggage doors out here. Just give you a quick look through this storage space. You can see a bottle opener here. You got your connection for the stabilizers outside as well for your drill, which is nice they give you that because you can't see you have these heavy duty manual stabilizers here. Drop frame up front. So this drop frame is giving you that bigger storage compartment up on the front portion. Again, you have the really nice Westlake all-terrain tires. So they're the Westlake Mud Legend. So I guess technically they're like a mud tire. Then right here in this portion, we have a pull-out shoe rack is how this was described in Keystone's video. Basically a spot you can put your shoes on here. Everything in here is waterproof down through this space, so you don't have to worry about stuff getting wet. So if you're out adventuring, hiking through rivers, mud, water, anything like that, you can get back, spray off your shoes, clean them off, and put them in this rack right here to dry out. I actually really like that. That's something that I haven't seen from any other travel trailers that I can recall. And I also know there's no doubt about it with the kind of travel I do in my RV, between riding dirt bikes, going on hikes, snowboarding, I'm having stuff get wet all the time. And that is actually something that would be really nice to have. You got your awning over here. It covers the entry door, covers all the windows on this side as well. So nice to see that. Every window is going to be covered by that awning. You will have an LED light strip up underneath the awning there as well. And then as we come to the back, you have your manual stabilizers back here. Storage in the rear bumper. Have prep to add a backup camera. Right here you have your spot for the bracket to attach the retractable ladder. And then we have the tankless water heater. Looks like all the water dump valves come to this one spot right here. Also looks like it has an auto leveling system on this travel trailer. Pretty neat. And that is pretty much everything. Through frame rack and pinion style slide out. And just overall very nice. Again, aluminum siding on here, but a higher grade aluminum siding than your entry level travel trailers, and full composite everything. Composite sidewalls, composite flooring, so there's no wood or luan in the sidewalls or the flooring of this travel trailer. Last thing is up on the roof. I'm not gonna set up the ladder to get up there, but I am gonna lift the camera up where you can see that 400-watt solar system up there, and you'll also be able to see some of the properties of what the roof looks like. But just like any other roof, I'm pretty certain it looks like from, looking at this footage already, that's gonna be something like a TPO, almost like a rubber-like style of roof, where you're gonna wanna check your seals up there. You're gonna wanna make sure all your seals are over time not cracking or drying out or anything like that. And I had to come back the following day, now that everything is fully set up, to show you they also have these suction cup different accessories that will come with these campers as well. So this is just a prep top here. You can see you have a couple cutouts to hang things from here. You have a little bin area there, and then you obviously have the shoe rack as well that we see. And if we come over to the storage space, I think there's one other accessory in here as well that it might just be the same thing. It actually looks like it is just the same thing, or something similar to it. But nonetheless, those are other accessories that will come with your Walkabout product. And this here is a 26 Max that I'm looking at this on. So another floor plan that hopefully we'll get a video of as well. And that's pretty much it, y'all. So very curious your thoughts on a travel trailer like this. This is a really fun one to take a look at. Legitimately something I would put in my top 5, top 3 for travel trailers I would consider for myself with the half-ton truck. Curious your thoughts about it though, and I think with the feedback that we have here, we could potentially push Blue Compass to be a supplier of this product in the marketplace, but we will see. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, so let me know your feedback down below. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, live firmly unbound.